let's go ahead and start our opening keynote, I guess. And yeah, so I know many of you will be super eager and keen to jump in and go start working on your games. And I'll try not to take up too much of your time with our kind of opening presentation, but obviously, we'll run through some kind of some info that will be useful to you to know over the coming week. Yeah, so first of all, kind of huge welcome. Thank you so much, all of you, for signing up and for coming here today. Really cool to kind of look out and see all your faces and to be doing these kinds of in-person game jams again. You guys excited, yeah? Yeah, cool. All right, I won't do the lame thing of making you like. But yeah, awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for coming. It's great to be doing this again. I have stuck the Wi-Fi and the password here on the slides. It's throughout the deck. It's also on a whiteboard at the very back of the room. But of course, yeah, if you need that, just come and talk to us afterwards as well. Just a quick note on this. So it's TA-Wi-Fi. There is a TA-guest. Don't use that one. Apparently, it doesn't really work. So TA-Wi-Fi. And then, yeah, TAC Alliance Wi-Fi #2020. Cool. OK. So yeah, quick kind of agenda for like what I'm going to talk through now. I'm going to kind of introduce a lot of our sponsors. Of course, we're completely volunteer run, so we rely on our sponsors, of course, for being able to do these types of events. So I want to give a shout out to them. I'll show you who, like all of our volunteers that are working today and next Saturday, so you can find us in the Discord and stuff and know to reach out to us. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're doing for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society of Canada, LLSC. If you've been keeping an eye on like our social media, you'll probably have seen us talk about that already, but I'll dig into that a little bit more. And then talk about the new format. So we are doing a slightly different format this year than we've done in past years. So I'll talk a bit more about kind of what you can expect today, as well as next Saturday and things like that. And then, of course, at the end, we'll get to the theme. So, of course, every great game jam has a theme, which is secret up until this point in time where we reveal it. And then that theme will be your kind of inspiration point for going. And as you kind of think about what games you want to make, you kind of take that theme and then run with it. Cool. OK. So, yeah. So, like I said, first of all, just huge welcome to all of you. Great to be doing this again. This is our 4th citywide game jam, our 4th LoJam. We've, of course, taken a break for the last 2.5 years, but it's awesome to be back. I'm actually kind of curious, maybe just by sort of show of hands, who here is this your first LoJam or even first game jam? Wow, okay, awesome, very cool. Quite a big number, okay. Awesome. Well, first of all, welcome to all of you. I hope you'll have an amazing time. Hope you'll love it enough to want to keep coming back and doing these time and time again. We definitely hope to do more of these in the future. Anyone, maybe raise your hands if you were at our last event in 2020. Yeah, a few hands. OK, cool, awesome. Well, welcome back. Great to have you back again. Anyone from 2019? Yeah, OK, awesome. A lot of the same hands. Cool. Anyone from 2017? Back when we were Hacker Studios. Yeah, cool. All right, a couple people. Awesome. Cool, very cool. All right, well, welcome, whether it's your first time or you've been to these in the past, welcome. As I'm sure you've heard us talk about before, the whole point of LoJam is to welcome everyone. It really doesn't matter if you're a complete beginner or you're a student or a recent graduate or you're already in full-time employment in a totally separate field and you just want game dev as like your hobby, or maybe you're actually working in the games industry and you just want to come here and kind of flex a bit more creative muscle than you're able to in your day job. Really, whatever your experience level, I'm hopeful that you'll get something valuable out of this time. And yeah, similarly across all the different disciplines, so whether you kind of consider yourself more of an artist or more of a programmer or a designer or a producer, again, I hope that you'll be able to kind of find a way to kind of exercise those skills, maybe hopefully learn some new skills during this time as well. Cool. Okay, and so, LoJam, we've always tried to kind of focus on being a good resource for learning. So, of course, these events are great for collaborating and kind of pushing yourself. I always say, if you've done a game jam before, it's great to, don't necessarily just try to make something that's exactly like what you've made before. Try to challenge yourself to build something a little bit different, a little bit new. Maybe if there's an area of game dev that you haven't experienced before, a different art style than you're used to working in, or I don't know, if you've built single-player games, you want to try building a multiplayer game, something like that. Try to kind of challenge yourself, because this is a great environment to learn from one another. And especially, I'm sure many of you will be wanting to use this as an opportunity to get something in your portfolios. If you're thinking about jobs in the games industry in the future, you'll be thinking about, building up a catalog of sample work. So again, having that variation in your portfolio is really, really key. I can tell you, as someone that looks at a lot of resumes of people applying to jobs in the industry, that looks really great when you've got a bunch of different interesting sample projects there. Cool. And yeah, to kind of lean more into the learning aspect, we are going to have some drop-in sessions this afternoon. I'll talk more about those a little bit later. And we have some really great mentors working in our Discord server as well that are here to help you if you have questions as we go through. And we're going to continue to really focus on promoting really good local causes and local charities. Those of you who are at LoJam in the past will remember we supported the London Health Sciences Foundation in the past. I think 2019, we raised something like $3,500 for London Health Sciences Foundation. This year, we're teamed up with LLSC. Again, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later. But just to give you a quick heads up, you can join our team fundraising page. It's at team.lojam.ca. Yeah. So again, I will mention more on that later. Cool. Okay. Before we go any further, like I said, I want to take a moment to kind of really acknowledge our sponsors. Like I said, we depend on these guys to be able to do these events because otherwise we're completely like volunteer run, right? So really the biggest, our strongest supporter for a while now has been Tech Alliance. So they supported us in 2020. And again, this year they've of course donated the use of this wonderful building that we're in right now. And I'm so appreciative of them for all of the, the support that they've given LoJam over the years. So I wanted to say a huge thank you to them. Unfortunately, their CEO, Christina Fox, she couldn't be here today. She will be here next Saturday, and she'll say a few more words about all the great work that they do and the types of events they put on. But in the meantime, I highly recommend go check out the website, techalliance.ca. Really cool events that you can go to. Really great for if you're anyone in tech basically in London. There's going to be stuff that you can learn from those events. So yeah, maybe first of all, let's just maybe do a quick hand of applause for Tech Alliance for giving us this awesome space. I also want to acknowledge Apocalypse Studios, who have also supported us in a pretty big way this year. Apocalypse Studios, some of you might not be familiar with them. They're a relatively recent studio that's just sprung up in the last few years. But it's formed by Dennis Dyack. He's their founder and CEO. He was also the founder of Silicon Knights back in the day, very prestigious game studio from Ontario that worked on some amazing games, Eternal Darkness, Legacy of Kain. They did the GameCube port for, Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes. They worked on the GameCube stuff for that. So really great kind of catalog of experience that they've got. And yeah, Dennis is back. He's got a new studio. It's not officially a London-based studio. They're kind of recruiting from all over, but I can tell you a lot of their core dev team and senior leadership is here in London. So this is a great one to keep an eye on. If you're thinking about jobs in the industry in the future, definitely keep an eye on their website. They're going to have some job listings in the future. I know they're looking to grow over the coming months and years. And they're working in Unity as well. They're using Unity's high-definition render pipeline for their upcoming game. It will be their first big new IP as part of this new studio. It's called Dead House Sonata. You can wishlist it on Steam right now. Yeah, highly recommend check that out. I also want to send out a big thank you to Digital Extremes, who again, they've been a continued supporter of ours. They supported us right the way back to 2019, I think, and every year since. So they've been a great supporter of ours. And my former employer, I worked at Digital Extremes for over 6 years, so I really loved my time there. And to say a few more words about all the wonderful stuff that Digital Extremes works on, please join me in welcoming up Danielle Sokoloski to talk a little bit more about them.
Hi, everyone. Jim nailed my last name, so good job, Jim. I'm really excited to be here for the 4th year of LoJam. My name is Danielle Sokoloski. I am the senior, I forgot my position there, senior community manager of Warframe, the free-to-play online multiplayer game where you can fight a sky chicken boss while wearing a fish mask that a player made. If you know, you know. And it was made by Digital Extremes here in London, Ontario, which is really cool. I want to thank you, Jim, for inviting Digital Extremes to be part of this. And he asked me to give you guys a quick idea of what it's like to work at DE and all of the amazing perks that come with that. If you're interested in getting involved in the industry, or if you're already involved in the industry and you just want to see what kind of opportunities are out there for you. So Digital Extremes was founded in 1993 in London, and we now employ over 300 amazing people from all corners of the world. In terms of perks, there's a lot to say about DE, and I tried to keep it as brief as possible, but I'm a little bit of a fangirl, so forgive me. As a company, they really make a point of investing in their employees. They offer you a lot of room in your position to grow. So if you have aspirations in your careers that you really want to take off on, they're willing to work with you to get on the right track. And in my time at DE, I've seen people become fantastic managers within their departments, or even jump into entirely new departments. Some of those people ended up becoming producers and programmers and art directors and leads. And all of these positions are equally important and were fostered in a harmonious and really supportive environment that DE maintains. And I think that's the real beauty of working at a company like DE. Every department plays such a crucial role, and I think in events like this, that's really highlighted as well. And really creating the success of the games that you work on, and that's recognized internally. So regardless of how you break into the industry, your work should be appreciated and valued, and that's reflected a lot in the culture of the company. Ultimately, we're humans making games for human beings, and you should be treated as such. And I know that having a more human approach to game design is something that is a feature for LoJam this year, avoiding that kind of crunch timeline and making a point of having work-life balance be a priority, which is something that DE has made a point of really encouraging, especially over COVID. Things like flexible work hours, working from home options, benefits that cover both physical and mental health, and so much more. And working at a company like DE also means being a part of changing the way this industry kind of ebbs and flows. Having open conversations around crunch and work-life balance has benefited us greatly and continues to set real standards and expectations of what it means to make a great product without denying your staff that kind of balance. Outside of that, and another major perk is just getting to work with some really insanely cool people, which you guys will all get to do over this week as well. There's 2 maps in DE. One, there's pins where you can see where a lot of people from that work at DE originate from in the world. And we also have this huge wooden map where we posted up at one of our conventions where players can come and also do the same thing. So it's really cool to have those 2 kind of staples in our studio to see how a game like Warframe has brought people together to do some really incredible things. We've had really amazing opportunities to work with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society as well, which, as you know, is partnered with LoJam this year. And we kind of see those things forever internalized in Warframe. Like, we have this really cool Harmony ribbon to represent September as a month to recognize the Leukemia and Lymphoma Awareness Month. And making donations and working with really cool charities is kind of a really cool perk, I think, of working at a company like DE, kind of going beyond the games itself. And all that to say, events like LoJam in London really encapsulate the potential of game development in kind of unsuspecting environments. Our founder, James Schmaltz, said in our no-clip documentary about the game that initially the team loved the idea that you could ship something small and grow it beyond there. And Warframe kind of came out against all odds when publishers in the early days of the company were telling the team that sci-fi wasn't worth it. They literally said, we're not going to invest in sci-fi. And here we are 9 years later with a game that couldn't be more sci-fi-tastic, and with a team and a community that are super passionate and charitable, and continue to make really impressive strides in defining what game development can look like. So I've talked a lot. With that said, myself and everyone at Digital Extremes would like to wish you guys a super fun week of game developing. And we're super excited to see what comes of your creativity and collaboration. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Danielle. And yeah, DE is awesome. Like I said, I worked there for over 6 years. It's a great place. Yeah, tons of room to grow there. Yeah, very cool. All right. So I also want to thank, we've had a number of incredible prize donations this year as well from other great sponsors. So XP Gaming, again, anyone who was at LoJam in previous years will probably remember them. They also submitted prizes back in 2020. They have, the founder of XP Gaming, Jason Lepine, he has very generously donated 2 business tickets to the XP Game Developer Summit in Toronto next, I think it's going to be next April. And those, it's a fantastic prize. Those are business tickets, so they're not just general admission. So actually, those tickets will allow you to actually demo a game there and potentially pitch it to potential investors as well. It gives you, a booth space effectively. So that would be an incredible prize to scoop up if you're someone that's thinking about developing a game, beyond. It could be the game that you work on this very week, but it could be a side project that you've perhaps been working on for a while already. Something like that. But yeah, XP Gaming, they run a bunch of great events, all over. I was lucky enough to get to go to their summit in Toronto earlier this year. And yeah, it's a great place just to go and meet with other game developers and kind of network and learn more about the industry. They've got some stuff more focused on education. So XP Gaming Education Expo, I think happens November 12th in Toronto. I think that one's possibly a little bit more directed at probably high school students who are kind of thinking about where to go study or what courses to take in game dev. But again, could be really useful to check out. So yeah, I wanted to mention that too. Also, the Manor Lounge. So anyone not familiar with this, it's an awesome local business that sprung up in the last few years. Founded in 2019, friend of mine, Jeff Evans, has founded this place. It's basically a place to go if you're super into trading card games or tabletop games, board games, anything like that. Very cool. It's at 256 Dundas Street. Highly recommend check it out. And Jeff has very generously donated a $100 gift certificate to the Manor Lounge. So if you're someone that enjoys trading card games, board games, that type of thing, that would be an awesome prize. And yeah, I also want to shout out as well, Jeff, many of you might already know, is also the CEO and founder, of a game studio that you might have known as Tiny Titan Studios, which for a long time was a prominent figure in the London game dev scene. Within the last year, they have actually rebranded, so they're no longer Tiny Titan. They are Doom Turtle, and earlier this year, they launched their first big new IP as Doom Turtle, which is called Ember Knights. It's on Steam now in early access. You can go play it. Highly recommend you check it out. It's an awesome game. And feel very lucky to have them as a sponsor to this event as well. Cool. I also want to say a big thank you to Microsoft. Again, they've been a continued supporter of us. They supported us way back in 2020 as well, specifically the ID at Xbox division. So if you've been keeping an eye on our social media channels, they sent us a whole slew of great prizes, Xbox Series S and X games, as well as controller stands, some game design notebooks to give out, things like that. I don't have them with me today, but there is a picture a bit later on in the presentation that I can show you, and yeah, I'll have them with us next Saturday. But yeah, ID at Xbox, for anyone not familiar, this is the sort of indie publishing arm of Microsoft. So if you've got a game and you're thinking about porting it to Xbox, ID is the way you would do it. It's a great place to go, get set up with an account manager who would then, walk you through the process of getting development kits or getting access to the software, getting access to the forums, and guide you through submission processes and things like that. So very cool. And not only for indies, actually Warframe famously is published through the ID at Xbox program. So it's not just for indies, but it is for any kind of Xbox game that doesn't get a physical, boxed release. So it does tend to skew a little more indie. But there's some big names in that program as well. And then lastly, I want to thank my current employer, Unity. They have also sponsored us this year. Again, they've donated a number of awesome prizes. Again, pictures on our social media. But yeah, a number of great backpacks, coffee mugs, coasters, things like that. And Unity, I'm sure, don't need much of an introduction in a room like this, but of course they make a very easy to pick up, easy to use game engine. I'm sure many of you will probably consider using them this week for your games. But yeah, great tool to get started with, and lots of great learning resources out, online for learning Unity as well. Cool. Okay. I guess before I go on, let's have a hand for all of our sponsors, actually. Yeah. So I also want to just add, this is our team of volunteers that we have this year. Those are our Discord avatars and usernames. You can come chat with me, chat with Ben and Murillo and folks here as well that you'll possibly recognize throughout the rest of today and of course next Saturday. But since we are a week-long game jam, you'll probably want to ping us in Discord for various things, so you can always do that. And any questions you have, anything around how you build your games or submission protocols or anything like that, feel free to ping us and we'll be very active in there. We also have a mentor, Jamie. Some of you will remember Jamie. He's been coming to these game jams, I think, since the very first one back in 2017. But Jamie's awesome. He reached out to me. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here today, but he did reach out to me to ask if he could be a mentor for anyone here who needs a little bit of extra help. So he's not here in person, but he is available through the Discord channel, Discord server. So yeah, if you're looking for a little bit of help, especially, he's very good in Unity. So if you have Unity-based questions, you can reach out to him. But also, anything around the scope of your projects, things like that, he'd love to help. Cool. Okay, let me say a few words then on the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society of Canada and kind of, why we're partnering with them. So again, in previous years, we partnered with London Health Sciences Foundation. Like I said, we were able to raise quite a bit of money for them in the past. This year, we've kind of turned our attention to LLSC. And so funnily enough, and I swear we didn't plan this ahead of time, their event, Light the Night, is actually happening tonight. It begins at 5:30 p.m. tonight. So actually, if you wanted to, you could go straight from here. When we close up today, you could go over to the Powerhouse Brewery where they're having an in-person celebration there as well. But it's also, Light the Night is, I guess, primarily a online virtual concert where there's all sorts of entertainers and things like that who are going to be, that will be live streamed basically. Yeah, so you can tune in from home if you wish. But it's a really great event. And of course, they're raising tons of money for leukemia research and things like that and helping do better advocacy, all those great things. This is a charity that started all the way back in the 50s just for funding research, and now it does a whole lot more than just that. Like I mentioned before, we have a team fundraising page. It's team.lojam.ca. The thing I always say is, for you guys coming out here, putting in all this, time and energy as you're doing into building games, it's in my mind, it's akin to running a 10K or running a marathon, right? So, it's very much a marathon type event. So what I would love, and, entirely optional, but I would love to just encourage you all to sign up for our team fundraising page. And then, create a profile there. It only takes a couple of minutes, and then share that out to your social networks, your friends and family, and ask them to sponsor you for taking part in LoJam. And again, it is very much a marathon event, so you can kind of position it that way, and then hopefully we can do a lot of good and raise some great money for leukemia research as well. And we will have a prize for the top fundraiser as well. It's just a little kind of added incentive there. And then also, as we go through, like I mentioned, we do have sort of an overarching theme for the whole game jam that I'll reveal a little bit later, but we also do have this sort of idea that if you want to build a game that also encompasses this idea of the fight against blood cancers, then that would be awesome as well. You can sort of treat this like a mini theme or a sub-theme, if you like, that you can go for, and any games that are going to target that kind of theme will also be eligible for an additional prize. There's a separate prize category for games that want to do that and want to kind of build into that theme. So highly recommend check that out as well and think about ways your game might kind of encompass that. Cool. Okay, let's talk then a little bit about the format, because we have changed it for this year. So again, if you were at LoJam in the past, or if you've ever done another game jam, where, historically game jams are like time-constrained events, right? They take place over 24 hours or 48 hours on a single weekend, typically Friday evening to Sunday evening. This year, of course, we've kind of switched it up a little bit, and we're going for this week-long format where we're meeting over 2 consecutive Saturdays, today and, of course, next Saturday, 29th. So, of course, the reason that if you watched our announcement video, you'll have heard me talk about this, but the reason we've done that is because we kind of felt that the previous format, it was okay, but it kind of encouraged people to kind of crunch. People would stay up super late or get up super early and kind of like forego the sleep in pursuit of the best possible game that they could make, right? Which isn't the healthiest attitude to have. It's a very crunch, like a pro-crunch attitude, which of course, has been pervasive within the games industry for like 30 years. But kind of as Danielle said, I think we're, as an industry, we're slowly starting to move past that. And taking more importance in work-life balance. So we thought it was important that LoJam should reflect that as well. So that's why we've switched to this week-long format, where we're going to meet today and we're going to meet next Saturday, but really the time in between is yours to kind of use as you wish. I should say, our thinking behind this is that you won't actually necessarily put in any more time than you would have done if we had done this over a single weekend. It's just that you can now take those same hours and you kind of spread them out around the times that work best for you, and you fit them around work or school or, family commitments, things like that. Of course, we can't stop you working every single hour between now and next Saturday. If you wanted to, you could, but that's not the intention, right? So, the intention is really just to give you that ability to kind of just fit it in around your schedule and take a more relaxed approach to game dev. So with that said, what are we, 11:30 now? What we'll do for the rest of today, we are going to have lunch. It's going to be served out in the main hallway here from 12. We got pizzas and sodas, fresh fruit and vegetable platters as well. So we'll have lunch from 12. Really, if anyone who is not yet in a team but wants to find a team, the time after this is to do that. Mingle, come and chat with other game developers, see if they're looking for a team. There is a channel on the Discord server. I think it's Find a Team. You can post in there if you're looking for a team. Maybe mention what is your particular discipline, whether you consider yourself more of an artist or a programmer or a designer, and then that'll help you kind of get matched up with a team that's kind of got complementary skill sets, right? If you're having trouble finding a team, also come reach out to us. We can kind of help get you situated. And then throughout the rest of this afternoon, hopefully most of you have already set up, found a space to set up. If you haven't, again, after this, we can help you with that. We might turn this room around a little bit, add some more desks at the back there if we need a bit of extra space. But hopefully there's room downstairs and we can get you set up if you're not already. The time is yours to use. We will have a number of great drop-in sessions this afternoon. Again, this is kind of one of the virtues of us switching to this week-long format, right? One of the pieces of feedback we got in past LoJams was like, hey, this is awesome, but I wish you could put on some more like content for us. And it's like, well, we wanted to, but we didn't want to be a distraction like in the middle of people working on their games. But because we have a week now, we can spend today kind of focusing a little bit more on that stuff. So throughout the afternoon, we'll have a number of drop-in sessions. I'm going to do one at 1 p.m., which will be kind of like intro to Unity or what's new with Unity. Murillo is going to do one at 2 p.m., which will be introduction to Godot, another very popular game engine that you might be considering. And at 3 p.m., Cole is going to do a talk that's introduction to shader technology, which would be very cool. And then from 4 p.m., Ben is here. He's got his very powerful digital SLR camera and light boxes and things. And he'll be running a portrait studio where you can get a very professional, high-resolution headshot that you can then include on your LinkedIn profile, your resume, things like that. And then so we've got the space until 6 p.m. today. And then after 6 p.m., like I said, the time between then and next Saturday is really yours to use how you wish. If you want to, you can kind of take it and, work with your teammates. If you want to work in a fully remote capacity, in an asynchronous fashion, you can do, which is very much like how many of us work in the industry these days. If you want to get together and go around to each other's house to collaborate, tonight or tomorrow or during the week, you of course can do, or find a room at the library. All those options are open to you. Cool. Okay. And then, of course, next Saturday, I'll talk more on this. We'll probably do a big announcement in the Discord server, but just to give you a quick overview of what to expect next Saturday, that day will focus a lot more on just kind of presenting and demoing your games. Again, because we have this week-long format, that is something that we kind of now have time to do. So again, doors will open at the same time, 10 a.m. We'll have coffee and pastries again. And then what we're going to do, again, one of the big pieces of feedback we had last time was we used to do our showcase event, right? People would get up in front of the group and show their games to everyone. But, one of the pieces of feedback we got was like people saying like, hey, I want to actually go and play all the other games that got made as well. But it was just really difficult to like find the time for that. But now that we have this week-long format, we have time for that. So we've been able to add a proper playtest session to next Saturday. So between 1 and 3 p.m., we'll have a proper playtest session where, again, in the morning, you can come in, set up your laptops or your computers in sort of a demo station type fashion. And then between 1 and 3, people will be able to kind of mingle and chat and play your games and give you kind of feedback on them, which is awesome. We will still do at 11 a.m., we'll do kind of like a mini showcase event here where we'll still have folks come up and do a quick presentation about what they made, why they made, what they learned. And if you still want to cut together a little trailer or have a screenshot or something to put up on the screen behind you, that would be awesome as well. That showcase event, that's kind of your opportunity, I guess, to like hook the audience and to kind of convince people to come play your game during the playtest session, right? We'll have lunch provided next weekend as well. At 3 p.m. we'll do prize giving and things like that. And then 4 p.m. is when we'll wrap up next Saturday. Possibly we'll do a wrap party as well, as we've done in the past. Maybe Krabby Joe's, which is where we did it last time, but we'll see. We'll get something booked and then we'll let you know through the Discord server. Or start of next week. The start of next Saturday. Quick couple of points on the venue. So the room we're in right now, this is the main room. This is where all those drop-in sessions that I mentioned will happen later on today. There are a couple of no entry signs you'll see on a few of the offices here, just door signs. Please respect those. Those are private offices. There's 2 breakout rooms downstairs that also have no entry signs, and we can't use those. So again, please don't try to go in there. There's 2 washrooms on each floor. Again, they all have door signs on them to let you know. If you can't find them, just come and ask one of us. Like I said, there's tons of desk space downstairs, including breakout rooms. If you haven't found a space, come chat to one of us. Tell us how big your team is, and we'll find a good size space to get you set up. Okay, rules and guidelines, really not a lot. We've always been pretty lax on rules. We don't have, caps on team size, for example. Really, the only one rule that we have is that everything you make, all the assets in your game, the art, the code, the sound, should be made during the game jam. So you shouldn't really use any pre-existing assets. That's kind of like our one rule, right? I will say, it's not a completely hard rule. We understand that occasionally there's going to be an extreme mitigating circumstance where you really have to a case where you've got a team and everyone is a programmer, no one feels like they really have any artistic skill and just gray box art isn't working in your game, and you want to use some sprites or something off the asset store. Or similarly, if you're a team of just all artists and you're really struggling with a particular mechanic and you want to borrow some code, in those exceptional circumstances, it is permissible. Again, it's highly discouraged, but you can do it. Just if you're going to do that, please make sure you credit it on your submission page and also disclose it to the group during the showcase event and during the playtest session so we know. Just, obvious stuff. Don't take credit for someone else's work, right? Yeah, and that's really kind of our only rule. And of course, be respectful to all your fellow jammers, no harassment or divisive behavior, and just be respectful of everyone's space and their property and their equipment and everything as you're kind of moving through the building. Quick note on the prizes and prize categories. I mentioned some of these already, but like I said, XP Summit 2023 in Toronto, we've got 2 business grade tickets to that, which again will give you the ability to showcase a game there if you want to. $100 gift certificate from Manor Lounge. So again, if you're super into trading card games, board games, tabletop games, that would be an awesome prize. Steam gift cards as well, and an incredible selection of Xbox games, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X games. Like I mentioned, controller stands, pop sockets, game design notebooks, and then merch from Unity as well, backpacks, coffee mugs, coasters, all that good stuff. So tons of awesome prizes to aim for. And in terms of our prize categories, there is going to be a People's Choice Award. We've done this one in the past. This is one where essentially everyone will get to kind of vote on everyone's game. As you're going through and playtesting everyone's games, you will be able to sort of give them a score across a variety of different categories, the art, the sound, the mechanics, and that will all go through itch.io, and then that will kind of tabulate the results for us. There's kind of two subcategories to that. There'll be the general one, games that were made in a week, and then we're also doing a special category for games made in under 48 hours. This is because, when we announced this new format, for the Game Jam, a few folks kind of said to us and said like, hey, I still kind of enjoy the challenge of trying to build something in under 48 hours. So again, totally optional, but if that's you and you want to try going for that, then you still got that option, and there is a dedicated prize category just for you. So if you want to try and make a game in under 48 hours, I guess the deadline will be 12 p.m. noon on Monday. So we'll monitor that based on the itch.io submission times. They are time-stamped, and just to let you know, it does refresh the timestamp every time you update your game, so you can't cheat. You can't submit it and then refresh it next Thursday. It does have to be in by Monday if you want to shoot for that category, that prize category. Oh, question, go for it.
Would there be any way that we could submit a game in 48 hours and then kind of keep working on it and submit it but better in a week to kind of have the two? Or
I would say yes, but you can't win a prize for both categories. So if you win one, you're not going to get a prize for the other. That's what I'll say. Yeah. Yeah. And then we'll also have a lot of industry judges are going to be coming in next Saturday as well. We've got folks from Digital Extremes. We've got folks from Apocalypse Studios. In fact, I think even Dennis Dyack, the CEO of Apocalypse, will be coming in himself. I think we'll have someone from Doom Turtle as well coming in and checking out all your games. So that'll be kind of our industry judges. They'll kind of vote on what they think is their winning game. And as well, we'll have someone from LLSC will be here next Saturday, and they will kind of weigh in on which game they think best fits that sort of sub-theme of the fight against blood cancers. So again, there's a prize for that, as well as, like I mentioned, for our top fundraiser. Cool. Okay, and with that, that's kind of the end of all of my introductory info. I know, I'm sorry I took up almost 40 minutes of your time with all that, but hopefully that's all given you good stuff to go on. And now let's get to the theme. And so the theme for this year is Back Together. And so we kind of chose this theme because it felt very fitting. It's our first Game Jam back after 2.5 years away. It's kind of broad enough that you can take it in a lot of different directions. You can apply it to mechanics, or you can apply it to whatever else you like. But yeah, hopefully you'll be able to kind of take this theme and use that as your jumping off point for inspiration. And yeah, like I said, today is going to be largely for conceptualizing your games, coming up with the scope, and really just kind of collaborating and learning. So with that, that's kind of the end. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them now. Yeah. Wow, no questions. Okay, well, if you think of any, oh, one at the back, yep.
Yes, are we going to get a list whenever this building's open?
Sure. Well, okay. So yeah, we're open today until 6 p.m. and then next Saturday we're open from 10 until 4. But I'll post those times to the Discord server as well. So the building, it's not open to us during the week, unfortunately, or tomorrow. So if you want to continue collaborating with your team after today, again, it'll be kind of up to you to find a time and location for that if you wish, or you can work remotely if you prefer. Just to add as well, if people think of questions afterwards and you want to, you can obviously grab us if you see us in the hallway or whatever, or just ping us in Discord, and I'm sure we'll get quite a Q&A going in the Discord channel as well. Any other questions before we break? Okay, awesome. Like I said, we'll serve lunch in probably about 20 minutes. If you're downstairs, don't worry, we'll come cool, and I'll probably do an announcement to the Discord server as well, so you won't miss it. Otherwise, have fun, good luck jamming. Yeah, can't wait to see what you guys come up with.